What's up? Welcome in, Hoge and Jahns with you now that training camp, in my mind, Johnsy, has officially begun because we saw a real practice today and there were real fans in attendance for the first time in 2 years. That was refreshing, even though we were in a new venue and it wasn't Bourbonnais.
Yeah, it felt real. Fans were there. The look of it, like when you're driving into Halas Hall, it kind of gives you that Bourbonnais vibe. It's not Bourbonnais, but you still see those giant bobbleheads and souvenir stands and concession stands, I should say. So you do have that more real Bourbonnais vibe, but it's still not Bourbonnais.
Yeah, and welcome in. We're happy you're listening, and I promise you're going to dive into our first practice observations of camp and the whole quarterback thing. I know you want to hear about Justin Fields and how he's looking and all that, but I do have one thing. I have to get this off right now, okay? And I know fans are frustrated who can't get into these practices that want to go. But was it just me, or was it completely dead in there today?
It was.
Now, part of that is understand, and I'm not blaming the Bears at all. By the way,
we're not blaming the fans either.
I'm blaming the fans who were there today. There was no energy. So if you were at practice today, except for the one guy who did say hi and said that he loves the podcast
on the way out, yes, thank you, our friend.
Yeah, you're exempt from what I'm about to say. Anybody else who was at practice today, I know it's early. I know you need your coffee. I don't know. Drink a couple beers for all I care. Beer drinking football guys.
My understanding is they're actually selling it there.
I mean, give us some juice. It was dead in there. I don't. To your point, the setup is actually awesome. I think the Bears have done a tremendous job. If you want to criticize the move out of Bourbonnais, that's a different conversation, and I don't care about that. I completely understand why they've moved it back to Halas Hall. I'm actually impressed with what they did to get this set up at Halas Hall. It all looks like training camp to me. Now, part of this is nobody's fault because they're limiting it to 1,000 fans, partly because of I don't know, a number of different reasons, but COVID is one of them, and trying to keep people spaced out. So I totally understand that. But if there's still 1,000 fans, you can make some noise. It sounded like there were 5 fans there today.
I think you should rephrase it this way, because you're ripping the fans right now. Adam Hoge's first official training camp observation is that the fans suck. No, okay. No, like... We know it's early. I feel like maybe it is the setting a bit because it's pretty tranquil. Like there's forest behind you. You don't have the party atmosphere that you would get at Bourbonnais a little bit because you would walk through like this amusement park thing with these giant inflatables, and there'd be people already, like trying to sell you stuff. Like it's a different. You don't have that amusement park feel to it, right? Mm-hmm. Now it looks the same with some of the signage. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. But yes, it felt a little subdued today when long passes were completed. I think one of the more vocal reactions from the fans is when Cairo Santos hit the goalpost. Yeah. There was some groans to that, but yes, the cheering seemed a bit subdued.
And by the way, Cairo had a good day, but he missed that one. But I think that was a 43-yard field goal from the left hash, by the way.
Oh, you went there. You did. Yeah, you went there. You said it.
I think that was where it was. But no, he had a good day, so no concern there. I actually agree with you. I thought that was the biggest reaction of the day, was when he had the kick off the goalpost.
Yes. Now, in defense of the fans, since this is where this podcast is going, I'll take the side of the fans. The offensive highlights, which is what everybody cheers for most of the time, they weren't overwhelming today. Justin Fields wasn't overly impressive. Andy Dalton was better than Justin Fields, but that's to be expected to a certain extent. There wasn't many interceptions. Like Allen Robinson had a nice diving catch, but the offensive highlights weren't overflowing today from Halas Hall.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though? And I would, some of this, I'm having some fun here. I'm not really upset about it. It is an observation, and I actually expect it to improve his camp. This was new for everybody. It was new for us. It was new for the fans. It was new for the Bears. And so there's a lot of open practices this month, and I think that they will improve. But you even think about all the interactions between players and fans. Now, there's nothing they can do about autographs because with COVID, they're not going to have the players interacting directly with the fans. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about like even when players make plays, sometimes they'll put on a show. You know, they'll showboat a little bit or play to the crowd. Or you'll have like Charles Tillman yelling, to some fans when he makes a play or whatever's going on. Like, I just didn't experience that today. I didn't see any of that. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. But I just think it can be bad. It's just a challenge. It's not even a criticism. It's a challenge. If you are lucky enough to go to practice the rest of the month, step it up.
Bring the noise. Bring some cheers and a little bit of some jeering. If you want, if you see some incompleted passes out there.
Part of this is just because I like training camp. I like being out there. It's still summer. The weather's warm and you get to watch football. So, I missed that last year when we had these weird practices with no fans there. And, I'm just glad it's not last year. I'm glad fans are there, and we'll see where it goes. But we were excited to watch practice today. We do have observations to get to from what we saw. Glad you're here. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. You can read my practice observations right now on NBCSportsChicago.com. Johns and Kevin Fishbane have you covered on The Athletic.
They're up right now. Check them out.
Plenty of read it all. Get it there. But also here on this podcast, because I think the quarterbacks look exactly how they should right now. A little rusty. We're used to this being a theme at the start of training camp where it kind of plays the defense's way. That is completely normal. And in my opinion, Dalton looks like the veteran, more polished, more comfortable, more in command, in and out of the huddle, operating the offense. And Justin Fields looks like he's going through, his first training camp at the NFL level with a ton of talent. Like the talent's still there. The zip on his throws, everything's still there, but he wasn't exactly smooth. Let's put it that way. There were some high throws, and it just wasn't it didn't look as polished as what Dalton did today.
Yeah, definitely. I think my general observation by the end of the day, and I mentioned this to you and Kevin Fishbane sitting up in the stands, was this is a day where the coaches would say the defense is further ahead than the offense. Now that usually changes in the next few days. But with Fields specifically, like, it's really tough to determine what he's doing well and what he's not doing well with the guys he's playing with sometimes, and he's playing with second and third stringers. He is getting number 2 reps. He's got as many reps today as I think Andy Dalton got, but the players that they're playing with are significantly different. They just are. I mean, Al Robinson's different than, I don't know, let me look at this roster. I mean, it's Chris Lacey. It's just different. It's just different quality of prospect. It's them being open, but also them being in the right spots at the right times. There's just different layers to this conversation when you start talking about what the quarterbacks are doing well or aren't doing well.
I'll tell you what's weird is watching Nick Foles run around with a bunch of third stringers. He's a Super Bowl MVP, and regardless of how poorly he played last year, didn't it look weird? Like you're used to watching Tyler Bray run out there, and it's Nick freaking Foles
for the 1 or 2 reps. Yeah. Now you mocked me for this. I came up to you in the media room after practice. I'm like, hey, who did Nick Foles fire that pass to over the middle? One of the best passes of the day. Just curious. I don't know if I was going to use it, but then you mocked me in the media room for asking about
it. I was like, are you really asking about a Nick Foles pass?
And here you are talking about Nick Foles. So let's be clear. But yes, with the visor that he can't use in games, and he's firing missiles over the middle between defenders that are deemed the best passes of the day. That happened for Nick Foles.
I mean, Nick Foles better be lighting it up against the third string. Let's just say that. And it's a well-paying gig. Right? I mean, Nick Foles should be happy to show up every day and make what he's making.
Already paid, yeah.
And, God forbid the Bears get in a situation where he has to play. We are actually, it was half jokingly, but we were having a serious conversation today in the stands. Do the Bears have the best third string quarterback in the NFL? They probably do.
I don't know if it was that serious, but that conversation did occur.
It started as a joke, but then when you actually think about it, you're like, yeah, they probably do.
Yeah, I mean, the competition just isn't out there.
Right?
Can I talk about the defense for a second?
One more quick thing. The one thing I will say that was I thought very positive, because I don't know that Dalton was blowing anybody away. I don't want to give that impression. I just think he was better in field. Every pass he threw to Allen Robinson, though, got caught.
Yeah.
So in terms of building that chemistry, I think that's very important, and they looked good together. So I just wanted to throw out that,
including a nice diving catch near the right sideline. I thought it was noteworthy that when there was an incompletion to Cole Kmet in 7-on-7s, looked like Danny Trevathan had a nice PBU, nice pass breakup. It was a misplay, at least according to Andy Dalton and Cole Kmet. Like, you saw them communicate afterward. Like, after their reps were over, like, Andy Dalton immediately walked up to Cole Kmet, and you could see him doing the directing of traffic as quarterbacks and coaches are known to do. And then I asked Cole Kmet after it, and he's like, it's just all about timing. Yeah. Got to be in the right spot for him at the right times. This is the time to work on timing. And if you notice later in that repetition, later when they went back out in the field, there was a quick, I can't be completely detailed with the route, but it was a quick throw over the middle where Cole Kmet beat the Bears starting linebacker for what could have been a good gain over the middle. That was a time throw. So that was at least noteworthy to me for a young player who asked to connect with his new quarterback and who was expected to have a pretty big role in the offense this year.
Yeah, Kmet talked after practice about, with that timing, that Dalton likes to get rid of the ball quickly. So you got to make yourself available quickly sometimes, especially on those shorter routes.
Especially for the tight ends. Like, if the ball's coming out quickly, I mean, you're more often than not, you're going to be the first or second read.
Right, and I think that those are probably both plays where that was the case, and so don't give the linebacker a chance to get there, or sit in a spot where the linebacker can't get to you. So that's probably what that communication was, and you like to see that early on. That goes back to I don't know how this is going to play out, obviously, but I like Dalton's attitude right now. I have to say, he seems totally comfortable and not, I don't want to say not bothered by the fact that Justin Fields is still here, because there is a little bit of an edge to him, I think, when he gets in the context of him sort of being written off. Like, I think he doesn't like that part of it, and understandably so, but probably channeling that in a good way where it's driving him. I just sense that edge a little bit. Like, I think it was Kevin who asked the other day, like, what do you think about this whole situation where all the fans are kind of against you? He didn't really put it exactly that way, but that was the gist of the question. And Andy's response was like, well, I'm going to make some big plays too.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to cheer for those big plays. I think, not today's crowd, but maybe tomorrow's.
There you go. I would say that the entire quarterback situation lacks the awkwardness that existed in 2017. And that awkwardness was so tangible. Like, it was in what Mike Glennon was saying. It was Mitch Trubisky starting off as your number 3 quarterback in these days of practice. Like, in 2017, at this point in time, Mitch Trubisky was Nick Foles, looking like the best third-string quarterback in the league. Like, that's where they were at in 2017. Then you had the extra added, awkwardness of what John Fox kept saying about the whole situation, which just made it seem crappy because, you weren't getting enough for him, never went through that situation before. So all of that awkwardness that existed with Mike Glennon as the number 1 quarterback, all of that, I don't know, let's call it indifference from your head coach about the situation he was in. Like, Matt Nagy relishes this situation. I think John Fox hated that situation in 2017. Matt Nagy relishes this right now.
Yeah, I think he's enjoying it. And it's also a better situation. Because I think the veteran is better than the veteran in 2017, and the rookie's better than the rookie in 2017. So you should feel pretty good about it. So
I'm not an offense coordinator. I'm not a defense coordinator. I'm not a special teams coordinator, but I coordinate all three.
Oh,
He
Foxy.
He did.
There's some unfamiliar area or infamiliar, whatever that word is, non-familiar.
Yeah, you're not getting any of that.
No.
Yeah. I also appreciated Nagy giving us some context for yesterday's practice. Because if we're being honest, and there were different restrictions yesterday, so we can't go into quite as many details, but quite simply, Dalton was considerably better than Justin Fields yesterday. And I thought we were sitting there watching it, and I'm like, man, he's holding on to the ball forever. He's throwing it in places that are completely covered. What is going on here? And Nagy explained this morning that the whole thing was carded and scripted to the point where like he was supposed to throw the ball no matter what.
Yes. Yeah.
And that explains it. Now, Dalton had to do the same thing, and he looked better. But
again, it's the players you're throwing to. Throwing to Allen Robinson is a lot different than throwing to. Let's look at another name on this list. Let's see who else I can find. But you get my point, right? Like it's just, Thomas Ives. It's just different.
Yeah, it is. And I think there is somewhat of a considerable drop off, even after the top two wide receivers. I think you could say, but at least
I want to give Marquise Goodwin some credit.
Yeah.
Like again, they opened up practice today with a deep ball to him, and that was a beautiful thrown pass by Andy Dalton. But the guy I'm talking about Marquise Goodwin, had a few steps on the Bears' number one cornerback. No, wait, there's a jump ball. Never mind. I'm thinking of a different play. Let me correct myself. It was a jump ball that he caught.
Yes, but he still went up and got it because he's not necessarily a big guy.
No.
And he went up, and I thought it was a decent ball, but tight coverage. Jalen Johnson was there, and Goodwin went up and caught it.
Yeah, you don't want to go crazy overboard about complimenting guys what they're doing in January, but Marquise Goodwin's been noticeable almost in every single practice with the speed and his ability to stretch the field and make catches like that. So the more he does it, the more you feel confident that he'll be able to deliver some of that come the regular season.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Four Sigmatic, a wellness company that is well known for its delicious mushroom coffee. What is mushroom coffee? No, it does not taste like mushrooms. It is real, organic, fair trade, single origin Arabica coffee with lion's mane mushroom for productivity and chaga mushroom for immune support. I've been starting my day off with Four Sigmatic's ground mushroom coffee with lion's mane instead of regular coffee, and I love how it helps me focus, especially during training camp, so I can get shit done. All Four Sigmatic products are organic, vegan, and gluten-free, plus every single batch is third-party lab tested to ensure its purity and safety, so you know you're getting the highest quality coffee and mushrooms possible. We've worked out an exclusive offer with Four Sigmatic on their best-selling mushroom coffee, but this is just for Hoge and Jahns listeners. You can get 40% off plus free shipping on mushroom coffee bundles. To claim this deal, you must go to foursigmatic.com/Adam. Again, this offer is only for Hoge and Jahns listeners and is not available on their regular website. You'll save up to 40%. That's 40%, people, and get free shipping. So go right now to Four Sigmatic. That's FOURSIGMATIC.com/Adam and fuel your productivity and creativity with some delicious mushroom coffee. This episode of Hoge and Jahns is brought to you by Element, a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. I literally have the grapefruit flavor in front of me right now, drinking it as we're doing this podcast. And I cannot stress this enough. Hydration is important. Electrolyte deficiency or imbalances can cause many issues and symptoms like headaches, cramps, fatigue, and weakness. And I know for myself, drinking more water always makes me feel better. Drinking Element makes me feel better. And that's why many different sports organizations out there have partnered with Element to help hydrate their athletes, including the U.S. Olympics, the NFL, the NBA, the NHL. This is a real thing, and you can try it totally risk-free. If you don't like it, share it with a salty friend, and we'll give you your money back, no questions asked. Drink Element is a healthy alternative to sugary electrolyte drinks. Each grab-and-go stick replaces essential electrolytes with no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, or any other junk. I drink Element every day to support my hydration, and my favorite flavors are, as I mentioned, the grapefruit. I also like the citrus flavor, and some of the flavors are wild, quite frankly. So you can check them all out. And as a member of our community, Element has a very special offer for you. Claim your free Element sample pack. You only cover the cost of shipping, and you can get yours here at drinkelement.com/Hoge and Jahns.
CBD isn't about what you feel. It's about what you don't feel. Stress, anxiety, pain. For me, it helps me with getting to bed at night. It helps me with sleeplessness. It's a safe, natural method to do so too. And Feels is a better way to feel better. Feels is a premium CBD that helps you keep your head clear and feel your best. It's hassle-free and delivered directly to your door. Place a few drops of Feels under your tongue and feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember about CBD is that finding your right dose is important, and everyone's dose is different. In fact, Feels offers a free CBD hotline to help guide you through your personal experience so that you can find your perfect dose. Start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going to feels.com/Adam, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/Adam to become a member and get 50% off automatically, taking off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/Adam.
All right. You want to talk about the defense?
Yeah. I think one of the best ways to go through these practices, at least if you're like a reporter or, we don't have the film to review. We don't know all the assignments that they have. But for us, and even like the fans that are there, cheering or not, Adam, cheering or not, it's like who's noticeable. Like guys you just make note of. Guys whose number, I just write down numbers and certain observations. Like writing down 94 should be, that's positive for the Bears. It's Robert Quinn, and he had a couple sacks. Yes, he was going up against the Bears reserves because Jermaine Ifedi and Tevin Jenkins aren't practicing. But he had a couple sacks, right? He had a couple sacks today. Eddie Goldman, for everything his story was coming into training camp. Will he show? Will he not show what type of shape he is? To see him stop running backs for little gains, to look strong, to look fast, chasing a ball carrier into the right flat, left flat, forget which one. Like that was noticeable to me. So writing down 94 and 91 is noticeable. I think those are big positives for the Bears defense.
I agree. I briefly mentioned in my notebook today that 4 guys, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Eddie Goldman, and Bilal Nichols, to me.
Yeah, Nichols had another good practice.
All 4 of those guys just look. We got a chance to see these guys up close in person for really the first time in forever today, and they just look like they're in good football shape, right? Don't they? I mean, and we'll see with the conditioning with Eddie Goldman, but he looks light. He looks good on his feet. And I'm gonna maybe veer a little bit into too much like coach speak right now, but I was watching very closely because they were working on their hands and driving on a sled early on in practice in individual drills. The defensive linemen were, the interior defensive linemen, and just the way Bilal Nichols was, he actually broke the thing at one point. Like they had to repair it because he had hit it too hard and driven it too far up in the air. And Nagy was standing right there and loved it. So that's a guy, man. You talk about what's at stake for him and the contract he can earn. And
there's a second contract coming for sure.
Yeah, and building on what I would call, like I already thought he was a promising player, but to me last year was like an actual breakout season. Like, hey, no, I'm a legitimate, definitely starting lineman. Now, he's got so much competition and depth here in Chicago that he's going to be probably in a rotation, but he's going to play a ton, and that's a guy I would keep an eye on for a big year.
Career highs in what? Sacks? Interceptions? He had an interception this year. Yeah. Tackles.
Matthew Stafford.
Yeah,
hey, maybe you can pick off Stafford in week 1.
There you go. Tackles for loss. Snaps. Across the board, it was a season full of career highs for Bilal Nichols. From the cornerbacks, not much. You keep looking at Kendall Vildor. Jalen Johnson briefly left. I think it was a double move by Darnell Mooney. Tripped. I didn't see the full play from where my vantage point was, but Jalen Johnson did return. Big season is expected from him again. What did he say to us afterwards? Short memory. Quarterbacks have short memory. He went right there to that.
I think he talked about the Goodwin play too. He said, I don't remember that.
It's good.
We remember it.
Yes, we saw it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears social media team put that out on Instagram.
He might see it on Twitter by the end of the night.
That's one of those plays that just, they get shared.
Sorry.
It looked good. It was a heck of a play. The offensive highlights beyond that first play, there was a couple. Again, the Allen Robinson play. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Go ahead.
One criticism, though, I'm going to say, because this is something I am going to track because I think it matters, but no takeaways for the defense. We heard Nagy talk about that the other day and how important and how much that's going to be driven in. And so it's just practice.
There was a couple close calls, though.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There were a couple good plays on the ball, passes, defense. Khalil Mack knocked down a pass at the line of scrimmage at one point. So it's not like they didn't get their hands on the football, but hey, takeaways are huge. You just look at the difference between 2018, 2019, and 2020. I mean, the Bears, that was an astronomical level of takeaways that they're probably not going to get back to, but somewhere in the middle they have to get to. It can't be as low as it's been the last two seasons. So I guess my point is if you're going to have a day where the quarterbacks, where you're not necessarily saying, the quarterbacks are great, you're saying the defense won, it'd be nice if you could hang your hat on a couple takeaways during that too.
It's true. There weren't any glaringly. There were some bad throws, but those throws where the defender easily steps in front of the pass, where he reads the play the whole way.
No.
There wasn't any of those.
No, and it's notable that when Fields missed, at least he missed in a place where he wasn't going to get picked off. So, got to take care of the football too.
And can we just he's allowed to have bad days? I feel like I'm going back to things I've said about Trubisky, but some of it's still true. He's allowed to have some bad days here. I'm sure the Bears are testing him a bit, maybe overwhelming him here a bit, or purposely trying to overwhelm him a bit here to challenge him, to test him, because he came here feeling prepared. So, okay, here's some more. Let's see how much more you can press us. Let's make you force a few throws. Let's see what you can do. Not the worst thing in the world.
And I want to be very clear. I'm not even, trying to be too critical. I think we're just calling it how we saw it, and in no ways panicking or making a big deal out of it. It's just, in fact, you'd want it to go this way rather than the other way. To your point about testing him, the ideal situation for Justin Fields is that he's a little bit better tomorrow, and a little bit better after that, and a little bit better than that the next day, and at the end of this next month, he's a pretty damn good NFL quarterback. Now, it's not going to be completely linear. He's going to have ups and downs. He'll probably have worse days than he had today. And I'm assuming he's going to have some lights out days too. So it's what it looks like at the end. And in the meantime, we're going to tell you how we see it each and every day we can, and based on whether practice is open or closed, how many details we can give you. But at least we know Nick Foles can light up the third team, and that you're tracking it. You are tracking it.
I was not. Just making mental note of it. Now Fields does.
How's everyone doing? This is Nick Foles. Just entered the meeting.
Hi, Nick. I will say that Fields, for every practice that I've seen, will deliver at least one. I use the word tantalizing throw. I would use the word tantalizing in my observations in our notebook up on the Athletic right now. There's always at least one throw. You're like, whoa, that was pretty nice. Was it the Jesse James over the middle today? Was that his throw?
Is he wearing 87?
Yes, we got new numbers here. That's
Help me out, Ross. We're still adjusting to the roster.
That is not Adam Shaheen. Yes, because Anthony Miller, his 17 was he's out, but there's someone already wearing 17.
I think that's Lacey, maybe.
Yeah.
Wait, but who's wearing 87? Do you have that in front of you or not?
No, I got the old roster in front of me.
Oh, okay.
Now, Jesse James, the new tight end, is wearing 18, right? Or 19, 18.
No. That's Thomas Ives, isn't it?
No, he's 19.
Oh, see, I'm lost. First day for me.
Yeah, give us a few days here.
I was off for 8 weeks. I have a reason to not know the numbers.
Yeah.
But usually I have them down by now. We'll get that done by the weekend. I will say this. You want an example of a good throw. That was actually a drop pass, in my opinion. I think it was the second throw of 7-on-7s for Justin Fields. Went Riley Ridley's way. And I wrote down in my notes, good anticipatory throw. And I think it was, well, I can't tell you what the route was. It wasn't an easy throw. Let me put it that way. And he threw it right on the money. Unfortunately, it was dropped. But I had that one down as one of those, oh, wow, that's a real ass NFL throw.
I like that. Real ass. One more observation. So when Matt Nagy, hey, Mitch, when I get it's not ideal that Eddie Jackson isn't practicing. It's not ideal that your second round pick Tevin Jenkins isn't practicing, or your expected right tackle, your starting right tackle Jermaine Ifedi isn't practicing, and that Tariq Cohen's on the pup list. But let me just say this without giving away state secrets. I believe Nagy with what he's saying about not being overly concerned.
Okay.
Is that safe to say?
Yes. You know what's also safe to say? And this is not at all Nagy's fault because he wasn't here. I think for those of us in the media, we are always going to be scarred by the Kevin White thing. Aren't we?
Fox.
You know, it's definitely not Nagy's fault. But it just shin splints and
he was just making up crap by the end of it.
Right.
More, not even just lying, just like making up stuff.
I can't answer that. I mean, it's like, I don't know, horse racing.
Like that? I agree with you. But the problem is we've been through this with a player who they said it wasn't a big deal, and then he missed the whole year, and really never had a career. Now that was it was an extreme situation, and with a little bit of a defense at the beginning, they didn't think it was a big deal, but when they got to camp, they did kind of lie about the severity. And then he suffered a setback. He was trying to get back, and anyway, you know the whole story. We don't have to relive it. But the problem is anytime a guy ends up on PUP, or in this case with Eddie Jackson, NFI, non-football injury list, and you don't see the guy, and he's just not out there, and he's that important of a player, there's always this like little thing in the back of your head going, well, what if this is a big deal? So, but I'm with you. I agree. In fact, I personally have more concern over the Tevin Jenkins thing. For two reasons. One is, Nagy mentioned that it was something that was bothering him back in camp. That was over a month ago, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, whenever it was. And it's still an issue. And two, regardless, even if the back ends up being fine, these are important. This tackle situation's a little concerning, isn't it? At least a little concerning. And this is the guy you drafted that you said you had a first-round grade on that you think could plug in and play right away at left tackle. Well, he needs to get out there and practice. So that one's a little bit more concerning to me than Eddie Jackson at this point.
And Jermaine Ifedi and Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
Yes, I will give you that. But seeing what we saw, if you're one of the lucky ones to come out in the practice, you'll see. Yeah. What do you want me to say? Can't say much.
Sexy.
I love him. During this podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, and I also, by the way,
I know what you're going to say, and it's true.
You went for the iPad and you plugged it in. That was some quick work there.
Yeah, well, I didn't have, for the second straight podcast, really haven't been prepared equipment-wise. This was actually due to the fact that I ran into an accident on the way home. It was literally running in the door and plugged in to do this. But yeah, I didn't have the soundboard ready to go. So
it's okay.
It's ready now.
You'll be forgiven. I think our new YouTube viewers, who are a bit more particular about how they want this podcast, but bear with us and start listening to us a bit more. But that
wait,
soundboard.
Wait,
you gotta read some of those comments.
Oh, I don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I made that vow 5 years ago. I'll holler at you on Twitter.
That's reading the comments.
It's reading the mentions.
Yeah. Tomato.
I know in The Athletic, though, the comment section can be a little bit more diplomatic, and you guys actually go back and forth a little bit.
Yeah. Kevin
That's
does.
cool.
I drove into Halas Hall today, and Kevin Fishbane was ready to give it to a commenter. He was ready to go. 6:45 this morning.
Was it? So, wait, the commenter wasn't there, right? This was just
no.
Okay.
He was on his phone. Yeah.
Well, I drove into Halas Hall and immediately got heckled
Yeah.
for driving a truck.
Oh yeah. What jerk did that?
I don't know.
I will say this: everybody in the broadcast media got a big kick out of my commentary about your truck coming in.
So I missed most of it, apparently. I just heard what you said to me.
Yeah. What's your side construction job? Adam Hoge drives a Ford F-150. Can I say that? You're okay? See me say that?
No, because I drive a Chevy Silverado.
Okay, wrong truck.
So you can't say that.
Yes.
Adam Jahns, go ahead.
All right. Anything else?
No.
I think it pretty much covers it.
Yeah, we'll be back later this week. More podcasts, maybe a bit shorter. A lot to get through.
Yeah, well,
I do love this time of year.
Yeah, no, it's good. And we're going to continue to sort through it and hopefully not make a big deal out of, one practice here and there. But as usual, there's very quickly stuff to talk about, stuff to cover, and we'll see how the Bears handle it all at Halas Hall. So, hey, bring the juice tomorrow. And say hi. Don't. Also, how many Hoge and Jahns shirts did you see out there today? I don't think I saw one.
No.
Step that up too. obviousshirts.com.
The hats are there. Sold out already.
I don't think they're there yet. They're going to be.
No.
And that's not even what it's
More
they're not
coming?
sold out. They're still coming.
Okay.
But hats are coming. We might as well tease that since you said it. Yep.
Hoge and Jahns hats.
They're going to be good. I'll wear one in training camp. How about that?
I will too. I'm not a hat guy either.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. You don't wear hats,
I don't wear hats.
but then your head gets burned.
I
So
look funny.
But you don't mind having a burned head.
No, we just got to lube up the forehead a bit more.
Sexy.
All right.
Thanks, John.
We're out of here. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. Our practice observations, even more than what we talked about here, are up. Johnsy's on The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge and Jahns. Myself at NBCSportsChicago.com. Hit us up, all over social media, in the comments section. Maybe I'll read the comments today. So be nice. How about
You
that?
have to.
Obviousshirts.com for those t-shirts. They are up. Hats coming soon. And what else? We'll talk to you, I think, in a few days.
Yeah.
So be ready for that. See ya.
See ya.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good, Adam.